Hello, welcome back. Now let's learn another very interesting feature of Azure Data Factory, annotation. This annotation will be useful if you want to monitor your Azure Data Factory pipeline execution. So if you have hundreds of pipeline execution in your Azure environment or Azure Data Factory environment, and if you want to monitor some of the pipeline that are related to sales or HR, you could use annotation. So by using annotation, you could specify some tags to your Azure Data Factory components. Say for example, all the sales related files or Azure Data Factory pipeline can be tagged to sales. Similarly, HR related pipelines can be tagged to HR. So by using different tags, you could easily monitor the pipeline execution in different groups. So you could give the annotation at pipeline level or dataset level or linked service level, or at the trigger level. So let's see how we could define the annotation and how we could use the annotation inside monitor tab. So let's go to Azure Data Factory. So if you remember, we used this pipeline copy December, pipeline copy February and January to copy some data from our input container to output. So let me delete all the files. Now if you go to this copy activity, you could see we are using input December and the output December. Similarly, inside February, we are using input February and output February. And inside January, we are using input January and output January. Now if you go to the input files, you could see we have three files. All of them are sales file, and we have sales December 2022, then February 2023 and January 2023. So I'm going to define three annotation. One is sales, then the month, then the year. So let's go to annotation, and you could see inside pipeline, if you select the property, you could see we have an option to see the related components. But at the bottom, you could see we have an option to add annotation. Also, you could specify some description about the pipeline. Let me select so this is the December, and December is sales December 2022. So let me define three annotation. One is sales, then December, then 2022. Now inside February, I am going to define three different parameters or three different annotation. This is sales related file. Let me define Feb 2023. And inside January, we have sales. Now let's publish all the changes. And let's trigger. I'm going to use trigger now, and we don't have any parameter, so let's trigger it. Now let's go to monitor tab. So we triggered all the three pipeline, and inside triggered, you could see three pipelines are executing. One is completed and two of them are in progress. So let's refresh. Now you could see we have only three pipeline execution, but in our production environment, most probably you might have hundreds of pipeline execution. And to monitor this pipeline execution, you could use the filter. So there are already some filters are selected, and if you want to deselect, you could use these options. I'm going to use add filter, select annotation, and you could see we have many annotation. If you select sales and if you click somewhere, you could see all the pipelines because all these pipelines are part of sales. Now let's remove this annotation and select a new annotation. Say let's select 2023. Now let's click on this canvas area, or now you could see we selected only those pipelines that are part of 2023. Now if you select 2022, what will happen? Only those pipelines, the one belongs to December, will be listed here. And you could select multiple options also. You could select 2022 as well as 2023 and it will list all the three pipelines. Similarly, you could select December or February and January and it will list those pipelines that are part of that annotation. Now you could define annotation at the pipeline level, which we already discussed, or you could go to dataset. So you could go to dataset and you could open any of the existing, say input Jan, and go to property. You could see we have an option to select or create new annotation. Similarly, if you go to manage tab, and you could see there are some existing linked service, and you could see we have an option to add new annotation, or you could create a new linked service, and there also you could see we have an option to create or specify annotation. Similarly, you could go to triggers and you could click on new triggers and you could see we have an option to specify annotation. We will discuss how to use triggers in later videos, but you could define annotation at the trigger level also. So by using annotation, you could easily monitor a group of pipeline execution. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.